Let me ask you something. Have you ever stepped out in faith only to feel like you were about to fail? Like you started strong, but somewhere along the way, fear took over? Because what if I told you the problem isn't stepping out, it's what you focus on after you do? Today I want to tell you a powerful story from the Bible about a man who did the impossible until he took his eyes off the one who made it possible. The disciples were out on a boat, far from land, in the middle of the water, and suddenly a storm hit, not small, not manageable. Strong winds, waves crashing, fear rising quickly. Matthew 14:24 says, "The boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. The disciples were experienced, they had been on the water before, but this storm was different." Then something happened they didn't expect. They saw someone walking toward them on the water. At first they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they cried. But then a voice called out, "Take courage, it is I, don't be afraid." It was Jesus. And then Peter did something no one else did. "Lord, if it's you," Peter said, "tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus answered with one word, "Come." And in that moment, Peter stepped out of the boat. Friends, don't miss this. He stepped out into the storm, onto the water, into the impossible. And for a moment, he did it. He walked on water. Matthew 14:29 says, "Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus." But then something changed. The wind grew louder. The waves felt stronger. The storm became more real, and Peter did something small. That changed everything. He took his eyes off Jesus, and the moment he did, fear rushed in. "Lord, save me," he cried, and he began to sink. Now let me ask you something. Where have you stepped out in faith, but started to doubt? A decision, a calling, something you knew God was leading you into, but now it feels overwhelming? Because stepping out is one thing, staying focused is another. Peter didn't sink because he stepped out. He sank because he shifted his focus. The storm didn't change. Jesus didn't move. The only thing that changed was what Peter was looking at. Hebrews 12:2 says, "Fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith," not the storm, not the fear, not the circumstances, Jesus. And here's the powerful part of the story. Jesus didn't let him drown. Matthew 14:31 says, "Immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him." Immediately. Not after Peter proved himself. Not after he fixed it. Immediately. Some of you feel like you're sinking right now, like you stepped out. But now everything feels unstable. But here's the truth. You're not failing. You're learning to trust. And even when your faith feels weak, God's hand is still strong. That's why it's so important to stay connected to Him daily. Because when your focus drifts, you need something that pulls it back. Scripture, faith-based reminders, truth that keeps your eyes where they belong. If you're looking for ways to stay grounded in your faith and focused in the middle of life's storms, visit www.stayingbythestuff.com. Because faith isn't about avoiding storms, it's about trusting God through them. Peter stepped out, he walked on water, and yes, he sank. But he also experienced something the others didn't. He experienced what happens when faith meets action. And today, someone listening needs to hear this. Don't let fear pull you back into the boat. Don't let doubt stop what God started in you. Keep your eyes forward, stay focused, and trust the one who called you out, because even if you start to sink, you won't be alone. If this message spoke to you, be sure to follow for more powerful biblical stories and faith-based content. And if you want reminders that keep your faith strong in every season, visit www.stayingbythestuff.com. Because the same God who called you out is the one who will hold you up.